9131. Ferrucci Ristorante, Panama City's most romantic escape.
TK Vandy Roofing and General Contracting is a fifth-generation contracting company based right here out of Bay County. TK Vandy's expertise in commercial and residential roofing, as well as a design-build general contractor, set them aside as a versatile and fresh alternative to achieve your construction needs. Contact TK Vandy Roofing, 850-866-9908, or email support@tkvandy.com. They can't wait to help you.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lumen. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And now, the Gulf Coast's newest sports talk host.
Hey, there's the new guy.
Paul Wilson.
That is not winning football.
Paul is your pipeline to the heart of the action.
The defense can only play this good for so long.
Hot takes, big reactions, and your calls are incoming.
This week, it's really going to be crucial.
The Sports Blitz.
They're playing championship football.
The new Sports Blitz.
You can say what you want.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It is. It's 4 o'clock on a Tuesday. We're pumped up, primed up, and ready to absolutely go after it. Pumped in with all of the new college football news going on today. Jeffrey is in the building. Bone Crusher's in the building. Jeffrey, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good.
You look good.
My voice is coming back a little bit more. Maybe tomorrow I'll be, close
full
to 100.
go.
Yeah.
You know what? Them Lexington, Kentucky Cats will bring out the fight in you. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You were going blue, white, blue, white. How many times did you say C-A-T-S, cats, cats, cats?
They didn't do that a whole lot.
Because they didn't score a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah,
That's why.
They did push-ups one time.
Yeah, that's what they do when they score touchdowns. So either way.
And not many push-ups.
Not many push-ups.
That cat's gaining a flat tire.
Yeah.
Spare tire.
Yeah, that's true. But, man, either way, good to see you today. Bone Crusher, good to see you today. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, come on.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, we're finally here.
No.
We finally made it to the World Series.
I'm disappointed.
The Toronto Blue Jays versus the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Now, some crazy.
I thought this was American sport.
Yeah, it is, and there's a lot of Americans playing. So when you look at it, you might have the name of the Toronto, you might have the Canadian flag, but a lot of Americans are on that team.
Yeah.
So either way, gonna be a good series.
When they were up 3-1 Seattle, I was like, all right, there we go.
Yep.
That's what I need right there. I need Seattle in there, and then they didn't do it.
Yep. And Springer ended it with a 3-run homer in the bottom of the 7th inning. Me and my little boy watched it this morning just on replay just to see it. And those folks went absolutely bananas. And so should they be, because now they are going back to the World Series. Haven't been there since 1993. Joe Carter was the star of that World Series, but thankfully now they've got some more people to be a part of that, and they're going to be going to the World Series now. So when you look at it,
so now you got to say, what, the Dodgers going to do 5 or 6?
Probably 6.
Yeah, I'm going to go 6.
But the number's probably going to be 6 as far as runs to win the ball games, because both of these teams have been known to explode for runs, but all the talk is the Dodgers pitching staff, which has been lights out this whole playoff time.
Do you think the Blue Jays played better against the Yankees than they did the Mariners?
Absolutely.
Yeah. They look so much better.
Well, and that's the thing. I believe, honestly, that they thought they had it in the bag once they beat the Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
And that was really the case for
punching that ticket, and the ticket wasn't done yet.
How many times in the playoffs, no matter the sport, have we seen a team finally get over a hurdle, finally beat somebody, and then when they get to that next round, they look like a totally different team? The enthusiasm is gone because they just wanted to beat that team, it seemed like. So
I don't know if the enthusiasm was gone. I just feel like, certain teams just feel like they've been doing this and destroying teams on the way there, and then they get to the final, and then they just what just happened? Like the switch just went off,
Yeah, and that's the case of this one, I believe, because, everybody was picking the Yankees to go back-to-back and play the Dodgers again, and hoping to get the revenge factor, but that did not happen. We've been very quiet about the Major League Baseball. Not a lot of jobs being lost, but we did have one job get taken. The Angels did find their manager, and it's not Albert Pujols. Actually, yes, somebody else took it. But either way, Albert Pujols
but he's talking to the Padres?
He's talking to the Padres right now.
There we go.
And Tony Vitola from the Tennessee Volunteers is talking to the San Francisco Giants. That would be made for TV to have that guy in San Francisco. Who knows what could happen? It probably is going to be fireworky because that guy likes to get going.
Yeah.
He is a fireball.
I don't like him.
You don't like him?
No.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I figured you'd like the orange.
No.
And now he's going.
I'm sorry, Brandon. Yeah, this guy, I'd get rid of that guy. I mean, I just don't.
You just don't like him.
Yeah, him and the Coastal Carolina baseball coach.
Yeah, both of those guys.
Both of them.
Yeah, well, they're winners.
Well, yeah, the Coastal Carolina guy won one, and Tennessee coach did too.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah,
but they talk a lot of talk.
That is true. So let me just tell you this. This is something kind of fun for the fans to think about. So 1993 was the last time.
I remember it.
So, you were probably already grown and
I was
out
in
of
college.
high school. Yeah.
I was,
Yeah, what were you doing in 1993? What year were you in and where were you at?
I was my sophomore year of college, and I was having a good time, and I was getting less invested.
Bet you were.
Oh, yeah. Man.
1993. Your major was
civil engineering.
Beer.
No, it's not. No, I don't. Actually, okay, this is going to sound worse, but I don't drink beer.
Oh, okay, good.
It's hard liquor for me. I need the hard stuff.
Sorry, I thought it was going to be like some kind of Tropicana and
No, I was hitting the hard liquor, man. And I was not. I've never been a beer drinker. I've just been hard liquor all my life.
Okay, so 93, you're at Louisiana State University.
Yep.
You're studying, what'd you say? Civil engineering.
Yeah.
And drinking a lot of hard liquor.
Yeah.
And
I was partying
and staying up too late. Didn't get your work done.
Absolutely. I wasn't studying enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But it's okay,
We can also change the number to 1-888 admitted for that as well. So,
Gambling.
Bone Crusher, 1993. Where were you in 1993?
Oh, man, I was freshman year at Georgia College and State University. I majored in beer.
Not even brewing it.
Beers, girls, and journalism.
Okay, awesome. I was still in high school. I'm in elementary school. No, I'm kidding. No, I was in high school, sophomore in high school.
In Mobile,
Mary G. Montgomery High School. Had no idea what life was all about. Didn't really think about anything but baseball and basketball, and that's about it, really. And just doing the high school thing. So waiting to drive, I think, is what I was trying to do.
You know that back-to-back, the Blue Jays won back-to-back, 92 and 93. And in 91, though, is a more, what do you call it? I don't say iconic, more memorable year when the Twins won against the Braves.
Yeah, when Kent Herbeck picked Ron Gantz's leg up.
Thank you.
On first base, and they called him out, but he still picked his foot up and tagged him and ended the inning or whatever it was. Yeah. So just a crazy time.
And that was the first, I don't know if it's still the only World Series where the home team won every single game. The Twins won the first two. The Braves won 3 in a row, and then the Twins Twins won the last
two. Yep.
And that was like just such a memorable World Series.
Yeah,
to me,
especially it was for us too, because the Braves going there, and
and the Braves weren't getting there in the 80s.
No,
and that was the very beginning of the Braves 90s, where
when they
were. I mean, the Indians. It was a different era. You could tell the 90s was going to be different from the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. And the Braves, that was when the Braves really started becoming relevant. I mean, we all watched it on TBS, but
no, it was a different world in the 90s for the Braves.
Definitely a better deal going on there. But I was confused when you said that about the Blue Jays. I wasn't thinking that they went back to back.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
they went back to back. And then there were different teams, through the middle of the 90s, and then the Yankees, 90, 98, 99?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were starting to come back and dominate again.
So speaking of the Blue Jays, do you remember that they played a joke on Derek Bell, which was one of their outfielders, and what he did is they got the keys from his vehicle.
Oh, the truck.
The green.
Yes.
And it was a giveaway.
Yeah.
And they went through the whole thing of
and
saying,
his eyes went.
Yeah, he wasn't in on the prank, and they drove his green like fancy with rims on it lowered and all of that, and they drove it into the outfield, and they were like, he couldn't believe that they actually gave his car away, but they really didn't. But
it was funny,
that was a very funny time. But either way,
back then the Montreal Expos existed.
Yeah.
They moved to Washington to become the Nationals.
Yep, exactly.
So,
that was when they moved. So we do have a caller on the Red 70s phone line. We've got Edward wanting to talk about those Dodgers. How you doing, Edward?
Hey, guys. What's going on, man? I'm a little under the weather, so I'm drinking a hot toddy right now.
Oh, I hear you. Okay. All right.
Oh, man, so my voice is a little messed up, a little congested. But I was calling in. I've got a dilemma, and I don't know where I have to stand now. I'm kind of on the fence right now with my situation.
Okay. Well, we're gonna pull away from the sports right now. We're gonna be here for you to help you right here. What you got?
So it's a sports question, so more of a comment, but here we go. So I have a baby with Candy Maldonado's daughter, and if you know, Candy Maldonado won the World Series with the Blue Jays in '92, but he also plays for the LA Dodgers as well.
Yes. That's
yeah. See, so I'm rooting for my Dodgers, but on the back end, I'm like, maybe the Blue Jays can pull it out too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this is the deal. You're winner. Yeah, you're the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So
you can
cheer. Yeah, you can cheer for the Dodgers right now, and it's all right. And if they win, you can be like, hey, Daddy-in-law Maldonado, or whatever you call him, Daddy Mald.
Hey, I don't call nobody Daddy.
But either way, and if it switches and the Blue Jays win, then you can be like, hey, y'all won it again. This is awesome. I'm so happy. I'm proud. And all that, and just do the old switcheroo. Like, hey, my favorite team in America is the Dodgers. And then my favorite team in Canada is the Blue Jays. You see how I worked that out there for you? Yeah, there we go.
Playing the reverse card. Nice.
There we go. Yeah, that's all you got to do. And are you guys still planning a trip down to the Dominican to see them?
Yeah, we're going to go visit them next year and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just saving up a little bit of scratch and stuff like that. But everything is all pretty cool. And like I said, I'm pretty excited about the World Series. I'm guessing, what do y'all thinking? Dodgers in 5, 6 maybe, plus or minus?
6. That's saying 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think yesterday you said whoever hits over 6 runs is probably going to pull the victory out on each one.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Dodgers is going to be hard pressed to give up 6 runs in a game with this starting pitching group.
But will it be?
Go ahead.
No, will it be like, how like some games you'll start out and they got those star pitchers and then it's like a 3-2 game, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a possibility too. I wouldn't bet on the first game being the over. I would bet on the second game being the over. I think the batters will start coming out like hardcore in that second game.
So in a series like this, do the Dodgers have more to lose than the Blue Jays?
I don't know, because if this was the first time the Dodgers had been to the World Series for a while, I would say yes. But with them being there, I think they're just playing carefree baseball. They know what they're doing. They know what it's like. Now, I do believe that, the Blue Jays has the most pressure because, since 1993, they haven't been there. So that's the pressure for them. And really, you can always, as long as if it was just a one-game deal, which it's not, anybody could win. But the Dodgers definitely have the upper hand with being here, having the star power, and the starting pitching's looking lights out right now.
So let me bring up two years for you, and it's going to be a football reference. It's a little bit different than baseball, but when teams are expected to go back-to-back because they won the previous year and they've lost, think about, they don't have regrets from that second year. The first one I have is the Redskins won in 92, and then they went and they were going to be back-to-back because they were going to beat the Raiders. And then Marcus Allen ran all over the Redskins and stopped them from repeating. The Redskins don't have any complaints from not going on a repeat that year. And then the second one is the 97 Brett Favre Green Bay Packers. They had already won. They beat New England, right? And in 98, they went and played the Denver Broncos, and that's Elway's first ring. And, I mean, you really kind of look at it, and you're like, Favre got his ring. There's no regrets from that. They could have won back-to-back. It's not as bad. But for the team like Denver Broncos to finally get one ring, that was huge and massive. So the Blue Jays have a lot more to lose than the Dodgers do, for sure.
And that's why it pays to call in and listen to y'all's show. Look at that.
There you go. Let me ask you this, Edward, when were you born?
Not your business. No, I'm just kidding. No, 1985.
Okay, so 85. So you were born. So can you recall what you were doing in 1993? I know you're a little kid at this time, but
I can.
Okay, what was it?
I was watching Saved by the Bell. I was in second grade. The situation at Waco at Mount Carmel happened.
Yes.
In April.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Saved by the Bell, Waco.
That's crazy. Yep, that's great. Well, Edward, we're going to be bumping to the next break here in just a moment, but we appreciate you calling. We enjoy your conversation, man, and go Dodgers, and then on the flip side, go Blue Jays. All right, brother. Thank you, man. So if you look at it, the national champions for that year was the Florida State Seminoles in 1993.
Charlie Ward.
Dallas Cowboys was the World Super Bowl champions in 1993. Song of the year was Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton. Yeah. And the Academy Awards movie of the year was The Schindler's List.
And
how about that?
And you know who three-peated in basketball?
Michael Jordan
for the first
with the
time.
Chicago Bulls. Yeah. That's exactly right.
They three-peated for the first time because they ended up three-peating again.
Yep, exactly. Took a couple of years off and then three-peated.
Yeah.
And then bread was 75 cents.
I believe it.
And milk was $2.09. So there you go. So either way, 1993 was a different deal.
Yeah.
Than for sure for now. So it's been a long time.
32 years.
32 years. And this marks, now that we know who's going to the World Series, now we can say that the Seattle Mariners is the only team in baseball that has never made it to the World Series.
You're kidding me.
I am not kidding. All jokes aside.
Wow.
So they're the only ones. And the reasoning is because Montreal moved to Washington
Nationals and won.
And they won one. Yeah. So
I remember.
Yeah, so that's the Expos never did go, but they're not a team anymore. So with that being said, the Seattle Mariners, they wasn't just playing for
When's the last time the White Sox went?
I don't know, but I'm just saying.
No, the White Sox went last decade, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. That's right.
But if you look at it, the Mariners, they were not just playing for themselves. They were not just playing for the big dumper. They were playing for the organization and the history. Yeah. And I mean, you got to think about it. So now let me ask you this. As we now sit and see that they've been bounced from the playoffs, Kyle Riley, does he deserve it? He hit 65. He did hit 65, which is the most ever in a single season, including playoffs. He hit 65. Judge had hit 64. But for the American League, 65 is the record still because Barry Bonds played on the National League.
I hate to be petty because there's just one game. There was one game from the World Series. If they had made the World Series, I would have said give it to him.
Yeah, because he homered. Because he homered in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, Judge did not do much in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, he got some hits and all that.
So if he'd made the World Series, would all have the perception that, hey, he deserves it. But the fact that they just went one more round than the Yankees did, you kind of still got to look at the numbers and all that.
Well, another thing to talk about for 1993, friend of the show, Chris Multiconte, said that Yokozuna won the Royal Rumble in 1993. So there we go. A lot of things happening in 1993. But Yokozuna, do you remember Yokozuna, the really big wrestler that looked like he was a, what do they call him?
I don't know.
What are the Japanese sumo wrestlers?
Sumo wrestler. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how he looked. He come to the ring with his garb on like a sumo wrestler. Obviously, he didn't wear the diaper. He wore the tights. But either way, what's funny about him is I don't even think he was Japanese. I think he was like Hawaiian or something.
Yeah, Polynesian.
But either way, they, I said Hawaiian, like punch. No, I mean, it is, but either way, 1993 was a long time ago. A lot of things different. Everybody probably wishes that groceries were the price of 1993, but obviously they're not, and gas as well. Because I think it was $1.35, I believe, something like that.
I made friends with a girl that year, and she had a Camaro, and she had a car phone.
In the bag?
In the bag, like in the middle of her car.
Yeah.
Like right like that. And I thought, oh, wow, that's pretty neat and all that. And I didn't realize probably back then it was expensive as heck.
Oh, yeah.
It was about 97 was when the price dropped and everybody started getting the cell phones. I got a cell phone in 97.
So do you remember like the people that did have the bag phones that they would be in the malls with them walking and having the phone? And I mean, obviously they had telephones.
Yeah.
They had pay phones in the mall. But people were using it as a status. And then the beeper, actually, they would always have it.
Oh, the beeper.
So did you have a beeper?
I never had a beeper.
I never had a beeper, but my dad had a beeper. For work.
Oh, yeah,
So when he was home on the weekends and I went somewhere, they would make me they would give me the beeper. And then if they needed me, they would beat me, and then I would pull over, or my friend would pull over, and we would call from a payphone, and my mom would be like, hey, what time are you coming home? You know, because I had a curfew and all that. So, and they had just built a Waffle House by my house. And so she said, why don't you stop and get us some Waffle House at like 10:30 or 11 o'clock, whatever time my curfew was. Let's get us some scattered, smothered, covered, and chunked, and I'll pay you back, and I'll actually give you an extra $5 for picking it up for me. So there you go. I was making money back then.
The first DoorDash.
There you go. In 1993, I was a DoorDasher for my mom. And I ate too, so it wasn't just her. I mean, it was us, you know, because we just like eating at night. So there you go. But either way, we're going to take our break and stop reliving the past. When we come back, we got Taylor Devers on the queue. We're going to talk about this debacle going on at Florida State. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Call in now.
This is Touchstone Service.
The Red 70s studio line is open.
Demonstrate how to make a call with your dial telephone.
850-215-6290. Your home for the NFL. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Coming up on Thursday Night Football. Touchdown! The 3-3 Minnesota Vikings at the 4-3 Los Angeles Chargers.
Thursday Night Football coverage starts at 6:30. Kickoff at 7:15 right here. Your spot for the NFL on the Gulf Coast. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Sunny the rest of the day with a wind coming out of the west-southwest at 8 miles per hour and 79. Tonight, look for a light breeze and mostly clear skies with a temperature near 67. Tomorrow, high around 80 and sunshine with a wind at 8 to 12 miles per hour. Thursday, warm with a high of 79 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
We're proud to bring you the most popular cars in the world, like the stylish Camry and the sporty Corolla. Get award-winning style and 1.99% APR on a new Camry, named the best new model by Kelley Blue Book. Plus, you get 90 days until you make your first payment. Curb appeal comes standard on the new Corolla. Designed to wow from the inside out. Get 3.49% APR plus 90 days until your first payment. Panama City Toyota, your Camry and Corolla headquarters.
Offers end November 3rd. Visit PanamaCityToyota.com for details.
Looking for dependable civil construction in the Florida Panhandle? CBC Construction has you covered. From land clearing and drainage to roads and underground utilities, CBC delivers high-quality work on time and on budget. Locally owned and operated, CBC is trusted by schools, developers, and municipalities. To learn more, call CBC Construction, 850-740-3815, or visit cbcconstruction.com. That's cbcconstruction.com.
The Rich Eisen Show.
The Tua Tagovailoa soundbite on Wednesday, well said, with the exception of how the media is construing things. There is nothing else to construe other than the fact that there's something going on behind the scenes that involves leadership. Right. Like that, 100%, when your head coach is on the hot seat and you say stuff like that, you are going to add more fuel to the fire.
The Rich Eisen Show.
Rich Eisen weekdays starting at 11, now on ESPN Northwest Florida. You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. Now back to the Sports Blitz on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, you can call in. You can text in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. Don't forget, on our Facebook page going on right now, you can win a T-shirt from ESPN Northwest Florida with a pumpkin picture contest. So just put your picture on Facebook and you can win the ESPN Northwest Florida T-shirt. We might get Jeff to sign it for you or Bone Crusher. Either way, wear one of those Northwest Florida ESPN shirts. Looks awesome. We appreciate it so much.
Take a picture of your pumpkin.
And put it in the comments.
Yep.
And
it doesn't have to be carved.
It can be whatever.
Probably.
It can be carved, painted, sketched, anything you want to do. Laser carve it, like you said about the Halloween deals down there. So either way. But Jeff and Bone Crusher, they'll be deciding who wins. So don't get mad at me because I don't have a dog in the hunt. So they will be the one.
Oh, if they have a Bama pumpkin, you'll probably want to vote for that. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. But either way, we're not talking about Bama today because we've got our friend of the show, Taylor Devers, on the line. Norvell Central Chop Chat. Taylor, are you okay?
It feels like I might have to rechange my name pretty soon.
Yeah, you think?
Whew, it was a rough one, man. 2 a.m. wake-up call, basically. Didn't go to bed till about 3 o'clock, just reminiscing about the good old game.
Well, and that's the key of those late games. You get either way. I remember, I'll never forget it. It was the late national championship game. Alabama brings in to play against Georgia. They bring in a kid by the name of Tua Tagovailoa, and he brings the Alabama Crimson team back, all the way back to win the national championship. And it was on a Monday night, and I was ecstatic. And it was late. It was about 12:30. I'm one of those fans that listens to the post-game interviews and everything that's been said. And I just hardly can't go to sleep because I was so excited and exuberant and all of the above. And on the flip side of that, I would imagine sleeping was not easy for you on Saturday night or Sunday morning.
Yeah, it was very difficult. You thought this team was going to come out a little bit more motivated. I'm not saying. I mean, this is a 3-3 football team coming into this game, 0-3 in the ACC, and as we see, I mean, the ACC has some solid teams, but it's not. It's all it's cracked out to be. I mean, you saw in the first play of this game, for those that weren't watching because of the Texas and Kentucky interruption there, and they had to move it to ESPN News, the first play of the actual game was a delay of game. the first play.
Wow.
It is unexcusable at this point, and I get it. The offense is not really to completely blame. I know Gus had even talked about it before, and I know we'll talk about some of his comments, but the offense looked very stagnant at times. The defense allowed 3 drives of 10 or more plays. I mean, that is ridiculous to a Stanford team that is not even that good, and I get it. Florida State came down to the last play. I get it. Probably was a touchdown if Mekhi Danzy wasn't in the way. The review probably would have got it, and Florida State would have scored a touchdown there. The fact of the matter still remains. Mike Norvell's job is in danger. This program has got to make some serious decisions at the end of the year, and this is just yet another game of disappointment that they have to live with and they have to hang their hat on, and they're trying to find ways to get around it. And, I mean, a 7-point loss to Stanford is one of the more embarrassing things because that stadium was not even 50% filled, and you literally let that team basically set the tone of that whole game.
If you would have told me that the Florida State Seminoles were going to lose against the Pittsburgh Panthers, I would have told you you have bumped your head and you needed to go be evaluated for something wrong with your brain. But if you would have told me that they would have lost another game to the Stanford Cardinals, I would have said there's no way in this round world that we would be able to watch a game where Florida State would lose to Stanford at the condition of Stanford's football team and football program at this current state. I would have all but bet my firstborn and probably my second just because there's no possible way that Stanford was going to win. And then when I turn on the news, because obviously I did not stay up to watch that debacle, but when I turned on the news on Saturday morning and checked, and I saw that Florida State had lost, I could not believe it. Was it the fact that Florida State was so good? No. It was the fact that Stanford is so bad. They're probably the last place team, if not the second to the last place team in the ACC. How in the world could this team, I don't care if there aren't 55 stars on the team, you beat Alabama. You play in the ACC. You've got a quarterback that's seasoned in college football and should be able to lead his team to victory. You've got a coach that has won a national championship as an offensive coordinator on this team. You've got stars on this team. You've got coaches, lineage on this team that has won a lot of football games. But to lose to a Stanford Cardinal team is just not acceptable, and I cannot, for the life of me, even believe that it happened.
Yeah, it was very embarrassing. And the biggest thing there is, too, Florida State's done that to themselves. There was actually a field goal attempt that Stanford had on 4th down. It was, early part of the game, and it ended up being I think it was a 3-3 ball game at this point. And Edwin Joseph on 4th down, Florida State's defensive back, jumps off sides on a 4th and 4 field goal attempt. And guess what happens 2 plays later? It's a touchdown. And guess who allowed the touchdown? Edwin Joseph. Biggest factor in all that is the TV turns it to Mike Norvell talking to Edwin Joseph because clearly he's upset. Clearly there's a lot of things and a lot of emotions going on. He shrugs off Norvell just like that. And you see Michael Alford makes this statement about how they're committed to Norvell, how they want him to continue throughout the rest of the year, finish out strong, give him all the resources he needs, and continue to have those and having that built-in confidence. But in reality, what confidence do you have when you even have a guy that's on your team that was not even a Norvell transfer? This is a Norvell recruit that has been there for his 3rd season at this point, and he shrugs him off. Regardless of if he's upset or not, that is a bad look.
Yeah,
it's a terrible look.
Yes, you're exactly right. And the questions that I have, and these are deep questions that I feel like that have to be answered and other coaches have to be watching what's going on with Norvell, because he has lived by the portal for the last 2 years, and it is not working. Now, obviously, you've got players that have come out of the portal that have done really well. There's been some players, you got, like, say, Trinidad Chambliss. He's done really well. He's come from somewhere else, come to a program. But when you allow the transfers to be the leaders in the locker room, I think sometimes that the guys that aren't the transfers, could that possibly be losing your locker room and your transfer guys being the leaders, knowing the college football game is tutoring, so to speak, these younger guys, and these younger guys realize the fact that they don't have to respect their coaches anymore, because you know what? If I don't like my coach this year, I can go play for somebody else next year, because I surely, if I played some, have some highlights that I can show to other teams, and you know that they don't talk cross ways anymore as far as asking this coach, hey, is this a good pickup for me? Because he's going to tell you no, obviously. So they're just going to try to do whatever they can for themselves. And I got the question, is this Florida State team such a transfer portal team that there's so much selfishness inside the locker room, is the fact that they don't trust and they don't care to trust what their coaches are saying?
Yeah, the crazy part is Norvell and his coaching staff added 44 newcomers this year. 26 of them were recruits, and this 25 class has been absolutely remarkable. And some of the guys they brought in, I think some of these true freshmen are really, really good. You even saw a guy like true freshman quarterback Kevin Sperry, who kind of filled in after Castellanos got hurt, was a quarterback that they absolutely loved. Gus talks about it and raves about it all the time. There are guys on this team like Usman Chroma, Javon Boggs. There are guys on this team that you really, really like. But the biggest factor in all of this is transfer portal is nice. You definitely need to have some needs here and there. It's the landscape of college football. It's going to happen throughout college football. Dabo Swinney doesn't understand, so block your ears. But the transfers with also the trenches are kind of the biggest thing in college football, offense and defensive line. That is something that Norvell has basically eliminated from his high school recruiting days because they haven't been developed. I mean, the biggest guys that you've had so far in the recruiting cycle that has panned out this year are two true freshman defensive linemen that are twin brothers. The rest of them, the defensive line that you got from the transfer portal, absolutely horrible right now. They are not developing. The offensive line's been solid, but over the last, you would say, 6-7 years, Florida State's offensive line has not been very good. And that's kind of where I think it factors into is you have all these transfers on this team, like a Thomas Castellanos and other guys that are on this team. I'm not blaming those guys because those guys just came into an opportunity where they want to be able to win and play right away. But the fact of the matter is, if you're not recruiting high school recruits and you're not homegrowning some of those guys and letting those guys go through 3, 4, 5 years in a program, it's going to falter down the team because who are you going to listen to?
Yeah, I have a couple of problems. First problem is if somebody that you recruited from high school, and let's say last year they were a freshman or a sophomore, and then the person that was in front of them that was getting all the starts goes through the draft or whatever happens to them, they're gone, and you're expecting to get more play, and you bring in somebody from outside to take your place in front of you. That's disappointing, and it's a morale killer, and it can kill a locker room. And I'm sure it's just not one or two people like that. And then the other thing is, what if the problem is that these transfer ends were basically like a reject from another team, that they didn't even want them anymore because they found out what kind of person they were or what kind of athlete they were, and that's not good.
Yeah, I just wonder, because the defensive line itself at Florida State has been pretty solid. I mean, you had a guy like Jared Verse that come from Albany. You had a Jermaine Johnson. You had a Keir Thomas. You had guys that have been very successful at Florida State. But the problem is you just have not developed those guys and being able to get those consistent pieces. You got a guy like Patrick Payton. He was at Florida State for 3 years. Unfortunately, it just didn't pan out in his last year at Florida State. He transferred over to LSU. He's had some solid moments, but in reality, that's really your only calling card that you've had so far in the high school recruiting ranks in terms of the defensive line. It hasn't really been anything special. All of your guys that you've had that have been very, very productive have been transfers. And when you're looking at those guys that you're bringing in, those 4-star defensive linemen, two of Florida State's best true freshmen they have on their recruiting class, in Tylon Lee and also Jesse Harrell, they haven't even played this year because they have so many transfers on their defensive line. What do you think is going to happen next year with those guys when they're looking at the depth chart and they're saying, well, I guess I'm back on fifth string depth chart at this point. What am I supposed to do?
And that's the key. When you bring in so many transfers, it is going to affect your ability to recruit. And people are going to talk. And that's the thing. We talk about this all the time with the high schools having the pipeline to the different colleges. And what's going to happen is they're ruining their opportunity to go back into those high schools and be able to recruit and tell them, oh yeah, this recruit came and this recruit came. Yeah, but coach, where is he? He's a fifth on the depth chart. He's not even seeing the field. He's a possible red shirt, and he's probably going to be gone next year. And that's the problem that Norvell has. It's not just a culture problem. That's a big deal. It's not just a winning on the field problem. That's a big deal. But it's also there's no depth at the positions that he needs depth at, which is the defensive line. And that's where you get stuck when you bring in so many of these recruits that are on the NIL deal. And now let me ask you this as far as Tommy Castellanos. I mean, realistically, he played outstanding against Alabama. He had a wonderful day. He ran the offense. He did exactly what he was supposed to. But is he, after now looking at the body of work, is he worth $800,000 to Florida State?
If he's not a runner, like he's not been the last 4 games, he is a below-average passer.
Yeah.
He is not worth that. I mean, if it is coming to a fact of Tommy Castellanos, like he did against Alabama, he threw 15 times, had about 14 carries on the ground, 78 yards, 200 passing yards. That is the Thomas Castellanos that is worth $800,000. But the problem is when you're having a guy that played even against Stanford, 14 for 28, 242 yards, 14 carries for 33 yards, that's not going to cut it.
And that's the key. That's where you've got to be careful with these guys that are so elusive. I mean, we can pick and choose who we want to talk about, and everybody wants to bring up this and that. But if you look at, like, even in the NFL ranks right now, Lamar Jackson, he's hurt. Why? Because he runs, because he gets outside the pocket, because he does those things. When they're healthy, they do great things for your team. When they're not healthy and 100%, if they're 80%, they're slower than normal, they're not able to make the cuts. That's why you have to not be so one-dimensional when it becomes talking about the quarterback position. And so with Tommy Castellanos, outside of him not being able to get outside the pocket because he's hurt, but also his height and being able to really throw the ball, it's just like you said, it's just one of those things where he's one-dimensional, and now people aren't worried about him getting outside the pocket because he's not as elusive as he was before he got hurt. And that's where Florida State, anytime you look at Gus Malzahn, he's got to have that quarterback that's got to be able to move, that's got to be able to get outside the pocket, that's got to be able to make those decisions. And unfortunately, we talked about it. Tommy Castellanos is a little guy, and those are big boys they're playing against.
Yeah, the high ankle sprain against East Texas A&M really killed him. You definitely thought that there was going to be an opportunity for him to kind of come back and be able to exercise that and get back into the swing of things. And, yeah, Thomas Castellanos had to make some outstanding plays, especially the touchdown run that he had for 8 yards. He had a somersault over 2 defenders and barely get in. You thought he was going to be hurt on that play. Next thing you know, you're down by 7. He had his longest run of the night for 25 yards. It gets called back for a holding penalty. He slides feet first, does what he needs to do and protect himself, and then a guy comes out of nowhere and targets him, and, he's out for the game. And, I mean, it looks horrible. I mean, Thomas Castellanos is on the ground. You don't even know if he's okay, if he's not okay, if he's got to be carried off on a stretcher. I mean, it looked horrible. But even when Thomas Castellanos is making those effective plays and what you're supposed to be doing, it's not panning out. I think that just kind of goes back to the luck of what Florida State's done so far in the last 8 years since Jimbo Fisher has left the university. It's not been a great thing for Florida State.
I agree with you. We're going to have to take our next break, and we're going to come back and talk more about this Florida State program and the state of the Florida State program. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Text us now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Coach James Hale Show.
They just need to kiss it. It's nice for Georgia up on its perch to be so concerned about little old Florida. It feels good again. They just need to kiss it. Did you see how stupid he looked on the sideline? He looked like a complete idiot. They just need to kiss it.
Weekday morning 7 to 9 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
When it comes to building smart and roofing right, TK Vandy's is the name you can trust. They're your go-to for general contracting, design, build solutions, and top quality roofing. From concept to completion, they deliver excellence on time and on budget. Whether it's a custom build or a complex renovation, they've got you covered, literally. Call TK Vandy today and build something better together. TK Vandy, built with purpose, roofed with pride.
Looking for the most romantic night out in Panama City? Ferrucci Ristorante is your destination for authentic Italian cuisine and unforgettable moments. The candlelight, the wine, the homemade pasta. It's like a little slice of Italy. From handcrafted sauces to centuries-old recipes, Ferrucci brings true Italian flavor to every plate. It's where love stories begin and anniversaries are celebrated. To reserve your table, call 850-913-9131. Ferrucci Ristorante, Panama City's most romantic escape.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Pound the like and crush the subscribe. The Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson is live on YouTube. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, you can call in, you can text in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. We've got the Crusher of the Bones doing the ones and the twos. We got Jeffrey in the building, and we've got Taylor Devers on the phone from Norvell Central Chop Chat.
So Scott Norvell turned, wait, I say Scott?
Yeah, Scott Norvell.
Mike Norvell turned 44 years old on Saturday. The last time he won an ACC game, he was 42 years old. It's been more than a year. That's really bad. That's pretty bad.
I was at that Cal game. That game was something. Mendoza is doing a great job. So we'll see how that goes as Indiana goes through their process too.
So is Stanford going to start winning games like Skipper is over at UCLA? Because Frank Reich is, the interim coach.
I just think that was a game where Florida State just basically beat itself. I don't really think that's a great Stanford team. Ben Gore-Branson is not a great quarterback. Elijah Brown, their backup quarterback, is not very good either. Cole Tabbs actually has some decent running abilities. He's actually from the state of Florida, so we'll see if they can kind of get some momentum with him. But definitely a great win for them. I have to give it to them. I mean, Florida State was 17.5-point favorites. You came to a half-empty stadium in a game you should have won. And, it's a common theme. This is 4 straight losses to a team that shouldn't even be in the ACC. Let's go ahead and just be honest about that. But it just happens. It's a product of what Florida State's been over his tenure at Florida State through 6 years. You have 2 winning seasons, and you're probably going to have 4 losing.
Yeah, that's the biggest picture for me. It seems like he does not know how to be consistent with the seasons. And obviously we're in a different time where you've got the portal, but some guys are able to do it and some guys just aren't. And sometimes you have to wonder, you have to ask yourself the question, is Mike Norvell a coach that can coach in the big markets? Or is he one of those guys that is just like Billy Napier, where he can coach really good with the 2-star, 3-star kids and really can't coach those 5-star kids or those superstars? Because, when you look at the way things are going, it just seems like the coaching staff is in disarray. It doesn't seem like A lot of confidence is in Mike Norvell in the building. Now, I do want to go back to what Tommy Castellanos said not too long ago about the whole we're undefeated against the teams, but we are beating ourselves. Do you still think he feels that way after this loss to Stanford?
No, I think this is, even though I do think Florida State is beating itself in certain cases, you have to find a way to beat Stanford. It just comes to the reality of that point. You cannot lose to Stanford on the road. I don't care if Stanford has Andrew Luck back there. I really don't. I think this is a situation where Florida State has the better talent across the board, and you have to win ball games. I don't care if it has to come down to a game-winning touchdown. And even if Sawchuk does get that touchdown to end the game, I still think we're having the same conversation.
So I was I was in Lexington, Kentucky for the Kentucky-Texas game, and then I went somewhere after the game, and then I went home, and then by the time I was going to sleep, I checked in on a score. It said 20-10. Mm-hmm. So you're 2 scores down. They kick the field goal, make it 20-13, and then supposedly I didn't watch the game at that point, but they had a chance to go down and score a game-tying touchdown. Did you watch that part of the game?
Yeah. So okay. Basically, they went down on the side of the game and ended up. I think they had about 40 seconds left. Basically, dropped back. I think Kevin Sperry had a catch to LaWayne McCoy, got him down to the 50-yard line. They had a false start penalty. I think he got sacked on one play, and it wasted a lot of time off the clock. Then next thing you know, they throw a deep pass to Deuce Robinson, doesn't get it. So you had about 8 seconds left to go on the clock, and it comes to a situation then where you throw a deep pass to Mekhi Danzy, 50 yards. I mean, he is triple coverage at this point. I didn't think he was going to come down with it. I mean, Florida State had basically 2 seconds on the clock. They thought the clock was going to end out, and instead of the clock ending out, they ended up having a situation where Florida State had a free play. Ball basically just dribbles to the ground. Kevin Sperry throws it up to Deuce Robinson. He has a pass interference call. They get an automatic first down at the 2-yard line. Then they try to do a shuffle pass on the 2-yard line to Gavin Sawchuk. Gavin Sawchuk, breaks the plane, but they couldn't see it on the replay command center, and they called it indisputable evidence, and they called it on the field as a stop for Stanford to end the game. It was about the most Florida State fashion as you can get in Florida State fashions.
Yeah, and that's the key of losing these games like that. You as a fan, you would like to be like, oh, we got hosed on that last play, but it's like we should not have been in this situation. It's one of those games against a bad team, and that's the deal when you lose to a team that you know without a doubt you've got better coaches, you've got better recruits, you've got better players all the way around the, everything, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and the thing was that, before all these games, these last 4 games have happened, we talked about, Virginia maybe being a trip-up game, right?
Yep.
And then after losing to Miami, we talked about, they lost to Virginia, and they're not going to lose to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Because we thought it was like a Virginia or Pittsburgh type situation to where you can come out with 2 losses, maybe, at the most. But this Stanford one, it was not on our radar at all. Now you got a bye, and you go at home against Wake Forest. Absolute must win. It is an absolute must. There's no doubt about it.
We've got a Red 17s phone line. Arnold, are you there?
Yes. What I wanted to say was I looked up there on the computer. I looked up what they ranked. Florida State's ranked 14th on their recruits. They got 1 5-star and 1 3-star quarterback, and that's it. They've got 14 commits for 2026.
Wow. Well, that's not how you build your football program, that's for sure. So it might sound as though they're wanting to do the portal again, or they're just having a hard time finding the ability to recruit better than Florida State or Florida and USF.
Well, I mean, let me tell you something. LSU is always ranked number 5, 6, or 7 in recruiting, and we're number 20 in the polls. So who's not producing with their numbers? I mean, LSU.
Yeah.
And you can't I mean, this whole recruiting of ranking teams, I hate it. Because Texas is always like top 3 in the last couple of years, right? And look where they're at.
Yeah, that's true, but you do have to, I mean, it's proven. You do have to have 5 stars on your team to win championships.
Yeah.
Because everybody that's won championships has got 5 stars. The part of the problem is that this Florida State coaching staff has went heavy on the portal, and it's not working. And if that's the way he wants to continue, then he'll have to go to continue somewhere else. Arnold, thank you for the call. We appreciate it.
Have a good day.
Yes, sir. But Taylor, if you think about it, I mean, obviously we're going to discuss at the top of the hour about the job, but when you look at what they're doing with the recruits and how they're doing it, it seems like Mike Norvell has kind of, it's not that he doesn't want the 5 stars. It's not that he's not going after them, because obviously I'm sure he's going after them. I'm sure he's sending people. I'm sure he's going himself. But it's almost like, well, if we don't get those guys, we're going to go to the portal anyway. So we're going to go ahead and, we'll be fine. Do you think that's kind of his mantra when he's thinking about this recruiting deal?
The biggest thing I've worried about at Norvell with his tenure at Florida State is he'll strike out on a guy. Maybe he gets a high 4-star prospect. He's probably 45th or 50th in the country. Very talented prospect. You end up putting all your resources into that guy. There's a couple other lower 4 stars, maybe even mid 4 stars that you're still going after that are interested in your program. You give up on him to go after this 45th to 50th prospect. Maybe he strikes out on him and he goes to Georgia. Then you end up saying, well, these other guys have committed to elsewhere in other schools like in Auburn or something like that. So you know what? We're going to go to the transfer portal. We're not going to worry about re-recruiting those guys. We're not going to expand our boards and get to a situation where we have 3, 4, 5 options. We're going to go to the transfer portal and kind of mask that decision until next year. Then we'll get the other guy. We'll get this guy for next year. So it just seems like a weird strategy that I think Florida State's kind of gets themselves into. There's too many misses on the recruiting trail, and it's exactly why you're seeing the transfer portal being used as much as it is right now.
And that's the problem. And so with that being said, now you can't go into how Nick Saban recruits. And obviously I'm an Alabama fan, Alabama homer, but the numbers are the numbers. Nick Saban didn't always take the top available. He didn't always take the one guy that was available at that position or that they needed. He took a kid that he thought that would come and fit into what they were doing. And when you change coordinators like Coach Saban did, you have to be able to know how to recruit still, knowing what you're bringing in. I feel like with Tommy Castellanos, they kind of just knew that they were going to have Gus coming in, and they figured, well, with Gus coming in, we're going to just go ahead and have somebody that's already knows the college game and can run, and so that'll fit kind of what Gus does. And like you said, it's I mean, outside of the Alabama game, it's not been good.
Yeah, it's been a weird situation because the 26th class is a very solid class that he has. It's top 15 right now. You're looking at about 13th in the country. You got 1 5-star in Chauncey Kennan, who's from Sarasota, Florida, and he's a very talented prospect, and he even responded after Norvell kind of had that news that he was going to come back for the remainder of the year at least, and he showed his support. He loves Florida State. He has a Florida State tattoo on his body, just like Derwin James did back in his recruitment process. Florida State's got 13 other 4-star prospects. They have about 8 3-stars. It's a very, very solid class. The biggest worrisome problem that I have with Florida State coaching staff right now is through all that news they've had so far, we're on a bye week. We're not even playing anybody this week. Usually coaches are out recruiting. They're getting to the end of this high school recruiting cycle so they can get ready for December. Guess where the Florida State coaching staff is? Not recruiting. They're not out there. Nobody is actually going out and doing these visits. That is very concerning.
Yeah, and you know what that means. Mm-hmm. You know what clearly that means, because that's exactly what Billy Napier did on his bye week, was stay home and hang out with the family when you're supposed to be out looking at prospects. And so with that being said, we know what's coming, you know what's coming. And when we come back from the break, We're going to talk about it. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Red 17 studio line is now open. 850-215-6290. Keep the game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Live play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. From Michigan Avenue to the man cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Sunny the rest of the day with a wind coming out of the west-southwest at 8 miles per hour and 79. Tonight, look for a light breeze and mostly clear skies with a temperature near 67. Tomorrow, high around 80 and sunshine with a wind at 8 to 12 miles per hour. Thursday, warm with a high of 79 and sunshine. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
We're proud to bring you the most popular cars in the world, like the stylish Camry and the sporty Corolla. Get award-winning style and 1.99% APR on a new Camry, named the best new model by Kelley Blue Book. Plus, you get 90 days until you make your first payment. Curb appeal comes standard on the new Corolla. Designed to wow from the inside out. Get 3.49% APR plus 90 days until your first payment. Panama City Toyota, your Camry and Corolla headquarters.
Offers end November 3rd. Visit PanamaCityToyota.com for details.
WVLQ Point St. Joe, WGSX, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
With over 4 decades in business, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to take your collection to the next level. All new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia and supplies, new and vintage cards, and Pokemon. Buy, sell, and trade. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards inside the Stanford Station on 23rd Street next to Academy Sports. Come see the bigger store and the larger inventory, or visit online, InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios.
This is Coach Stephen Pearl. Your home for Auburn basketball on the Panhandle is 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to the most opinionated sports talk show on the Panhandle. This is the Sports Blitz on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sound. It's 5 o'clock on this Tuesday. We're pumped up and ready to go. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Man, we are almost halfway through to the week, and I'm just pumped up and excited about it because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. As always, on Tuesday, I got Jeffrey in the building, Bone Crusher crushing the ones and the twos. We've got Taylor Devers from Norvell Central Chop Chat on the line. Don't forget, you can win a T-shirt from ESPN Northwest Florida. Go to our Facebook page and look at the post that says Post Your Pumpkin Picture Contest, and you can win that. And also, don't forget, later on in the show, we will be giving tickets away for the first time for us on the Sports Blitz for the Orlando Magic versus the Atlanta Hawks in Orlando. So basketball season is a go starting tonight. So either way, we're going to be giving away tickets later on in the show. Make sure that you listen in. We're going to be calling in on the Red 70s phone line. Don't forget about that. And also, something new we've started. We are having the mic sponsor here today. So either way, you'll be seeing the new sponsorships sponsoring my microphone here. This week's sponsor is Fadeaway Barbershop, the Alex, the Cuban, over there at 928 Thomas Drive. His phone number is 850-866-7840. You've always wanted to know. How does this hair look so good and precise? It is because Alex the Cuban at Fadeaway Barbershop gets me going, and I'll tell you what, you can get the same, not the same haircut, but you can get the same treatment. He does a great job.
Give me the Paul Wilson.
Give me the Paul Wilson hairdo at Fadeaways over there at 928 Thomas Drive. It used to be Thomas Drive. Now it's Navy Boulevard. So 928 Navy Boulevard. I'll give you the phone number one more time, 850-866-7840. Call and get your appointment set with Alex. Now, the thing about barbershops, and you know as well as I do, you go to a barbershop, you're looking at probably sitting and waiting for at least 15 to 20 minutes. But I'll tell you what, if you give him a call, he'll get you on the schedule. You can show up when your time is ready, and boom, you're right in the chair. He's ready for you. He takes care of you, and you even smell good when you leave. So if you don't want to, if you're going on a date, Jeffrey, let me just give you a little advice here. If you're going on a date with your girl and you want to go by and get your hair looking all spiffy and nice, you can go over there and get it cut and then go straight there, and he sprays this stuff on you, and it smells so good. It makes you smell so good, and I'm telling you, it'll work for you. So either way, go see those guys over there. Taylor, if you're ever in the Panama City area, you can come get your hair cut too. You can tell them Paul sent you over there to Fadeaways. But either way, we just are still wanting to talk about this Florida State football program. Taylor, when you look at Mike Norvell not going out on the recruiting trail, not doing the things that you would think, hearing from the AD and talking about how that we are going to support Coach Norvell for the end of the season, does that sound like to you that Florida State will be in the market for a new head coach after the last game of the season?
I'll go even a step further. I think they're going to actually be in a market for a new athletic director as well. I think they are going to do a complete overhaul of leadership. It comes to a point where Florida State gave him a contract extension, gave him $10.3 million, the seventh paid highest coach in college football. Has Mike Norvell coached as the seventh paid coach in college football? I mean, his track record doesn't suggest that. I didn't really have a problem when Alabama comes calling that you give him more money, because obviously if Alabama's going to come calling, you have to show that, you know, you're a good program and you're going to be able to step up to the plate too. But to go on doubt and give him a 2-year extension on top of that, and now that brings you to $22 more million on the buyout than what you intentionally were going to pay before. I know you don't think about that in hindsight, and I know Florida State fans were screaming of joy saying Florida State's going to be back. They're going to be able to have a consistent product. 2024 is going to bring about a 10-win season, 9-win season, and that did not happen. The thing is I know people are talking about with the statement. Is it because Florida State doesn't have enough money? Well, you had enough money to do that. You had enough money to upgrade Doak Campbell Stadium and to have a football-only facility. So you can say that they weren't prepared for this to happen, but how in the world are you saying that you're not prepared for something to happen after a 2-10 football season at a school like Florida State? That is ridiculous, and I think it's going to come to a point where Florida State is going to have to make a tough decision at the end of the year. I really like him as a man. I think he's a great person. I think he can be a great coach in certain situations, but as you see, can he be able to get his team consistent? I don't know if he can do that.
Well, I'm going to stand up in this studio, and I'm going to tell you, because you just reminded me something, that Alabama dodged the hugest bullet in allowing Florida State to re-sign Mike Norvell. So thank you to the Florida State College AD, president, everybody, because I am so thankful that Alabama does not have a Coach Norvell on our staff. So either way, you've got to know that this guy's gone. This guy's got to be toast. His seat is not hot. His seat is burnt. It's crispy. It's gone. You've lost 4 games in a row. You've lost to a team that should not beat you in Pitt. You lost to a really good football team in Miami. You lost to an okay team in Virginia. You lost to a terrible team in Stanford. So you cannot tell me this guy is toast. His coaching career for the Florida State Seminoles is adios. And that is a done deal. There's no possible way that they keep him around. Jeff doesn't believe that this is a top 10, top 15 job. I still believe
I said top 15.
You said, okay. Well, you said 15.
Probably number 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I believe that job is still a great job. I believe that there's people that want to go there. And I believe that I agree with you, Taylor, that that's the case. They're going to probably clean house and start over. It's going to take about $75 million to get all of the staff out of there unless they try to retain some people and keep some people with the connection of whoever they're bringing in.
Well, isn't it a declining balance? Like it's 75 this week, but then it'll be like 73 and then 71. It'll just every week that they keep these coaches. Yes. Yeah, so, I mean, maybe we'll get down to 60. Hopefully.
Yeah, so it is kind of I think it's $54 million right now for his contract, but it does get lower until the end of the year. You're looking at about, I think it's $46 million by the end of the year if they stick to keeping it and everything. So basically, you're saving the $8 million to basically fire the rest of his coaching staff that's probably going to be there, like your Gus's, your Tony White's, your other coaches on the coordinator spot. But I mean, overall, is it really worth the $8 million? I mean, you're probably going to lose more and more money. Joe Campbell Stadium is probably going to be in shambles. And I understand. I'm an optimistic person as well, and I do love this university and their football program. But even winning out, does that even solve anything? I really don't think so.
No, he's gone. He is totally gone.
Okay, I will say winning out would save his job, but they're not doing that. I mean, this 4-2 Wake Forest is talking about beating y'all, and I think that y'all can beat them, especially after a bye. It'd be embarrassing because they're playing SMU this weekend.
They've already been embarrassed.
But Wake Forest is 4-2. They're actually better than Stanford, and you got them, and you got 2 weeks to prepare for them. And then let's say you lose it. Oh man, then you're really screwed because after that you're playing at Clemson. You can't fire a guy right before the Clemson game at Clemson. I mean, I don't want to say that's your perennial rival, but they've been the staple for the last 10 years in this conference to win it. And we all picked Clemson to go to the ACC championship. I don't know about you, Taylor, but we all did. And then, I mean, come on. It's a bad situation right now, and you're not going to win out.
I love the fact and the optimism. I really do, and I hope that is the case for Florida State. But the reality is Florida State is 1-11 in its last 12 ACC games. What in the world makes you think that Florida State's going to win even 2 ACC games this year? I mean, they have 4 left. I mean, what in the right mind gives you the wherewithal to tell you that Florida State's going to go 4-0 in the ACC schedule that they have left?
Okay, you can win at home against Wake, and you can win at home against Virginia Tech. There's your 2 wins. That's it.
Yep.
That's all I got.
And the thing is that there's a chance that you can win. The tickets at Florida State is $9 to get in. And that's what tells me that this program is ready to release this coach and this staff to get them to the place to where they start all over again with this G5 coach that they've allowed to be here for the last 6 years. That's just somebody else said that on the Facebook feed. But either way, when you look at what he's got going on with his team, it really does not matter. The reason they put out the statement was to say one thing and one thing only. Hang in there, guys. We're going to get rid of him at the end of the year. We just don't want to lose any of our 5 stars. And as long as we don't lose our 5 stars that we have here and signed at the moment, this one, we are going to try and get a bigger name. Now, that's where I want to go, but let me first go back to the beginning of our talks that we had We initially thought that this was going to be a Sam Pittman Arkansas deal where Bobby Petrino's hired in as the offensive coordinator, and then he takes over as the head coach. We thought the same thing was going to happen with Mike Norvell. Mike Norvell not going to do very good this year. Gus Malzahn's going to weasel his way into the program, and then he was going to be anointed king of Tallahassee. And we know now that that's probably not going to happen based off of the interviews that Gus has done this week. And now, Taylor, did you see the interviews from Gus? Tell us what you think.
Yes, there were some key points that they were talking about in the interview, especially Malzahn was. He was asked about Castellanos' injury. Basically deflected it straight to Mike Norvell. Said he's just going to try to get healthy. Talk to Mike about that. He's going to be talking tomorrow in the interview. That tells you right there that he's just that type of guy that's just going to lean it all to Mike Norvell. And I get it. He respects Norvell. They've worked together for years. He was a GA, and then also Gus was a little bit higher in him in the coaching rank, basically took him under his wing during his first opportunity. And I get it. The dynamics are great and all. But then he makes a separate quote in that same press conference and says, you know what, I am just worried about being the offensive coordinator. Just the offensive coordinator. He just wants to call plays. He wants to get the offense better, and that's it.
Do you know why he is like that? Because Gus Malzahn is for Gus Malzahn. I don't care about all of the history of him and Mike Norvell. You can have all of that you want. But Gus Malzahn cares about Gus Malzahn and Malzahn alone.
Well, Petrino's worse because he believes in himself even more because he was a backstabber. There you go. I mean,
well, at least he doesn't have his motorcycle ready yet, so there's that.
Well, he's still probably got one. He just probably hasn't been riding it lately because he's old.
So, I mean, I don't know. Where do you see these two guys? Do you see Gus Malzahn going to a Group of 5 team, and being a coordinator there? Or do you think Norvell's going to be a coordinator, a head coach somewhere? Smaller school?
Honestly, I think that Malzahn, I don't think it's going to be a head coach anywhere. I still think he's going to end up being just an offensive coordinator. He wants to focus on the offense the next couple of years, kind of ride off into the sunset with his retirement. I mean, he even considered retirement this offseason. I mean, before he took the Florida State job.
You got to know
for Norvell.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just saying, I think Norvell, in his case, he had such a successful run at Memphis. You turn around and you get your quote-unquote dream job at Florida State as a head coach. I don't think he's going to let that up. He loves the offense too much, but I don't think he's ever going to go back to a coordinator role.
Yeah, he could probably go to a smaller school and be a head coach somewhere like that. Some of these openings that are going to happen, I could see him going to like a USF if something happens to Golish down there.
Major Applewhite out at South Alabama.
He's out?
No, I'm just saying he will be.
Yeah.
They have one win this year.
Yeah,
one win.
So Mike Norvell could be at South Alabama. He could be some of these other places. But when you look at Gus Malzahn's probably going to be a coordinator for a smaller school as well, because let me go ahead and say it. Yes, they beat Alabama. Yay for you. But the fact of the matter is that it looks like that Gus's offense is just not that effective anymore. And I don't know if you want to blame it on the players. I guess you could. But unless he's got Cam Newton coming to run the offense, I'm not sure Gus Malzahn's offense actually works anymore. So there you go, Gus. I said it. But either way, let's look at all of the guys that have the opportunity. If you could write your coach in on the sheet of paper and give it to the president and have him stamp his approval on it, Taylor, who would be the coach of the Florida State Seminoles?
That's a tough one, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but James Franklin. I would put my stamp on it right now. I would take James Franklin in a heartbeat, no questions asked. I think he will be a consistent winner at Florida State. Not to say I want Norvell out of there, and I'm not pulling pitchforks and getting him out of here. I'm just saying if he was fired today, I would want James Franklin to lead my program.
Wow. I'm not shocked at the James Franklin. I'm shocked that you don't have your pitchfork ready to get Mike Norvell out of the seat in Tallahassee.
It's not happening.
I want him out of Tallahassee, and I don't even like the Seminoles.
They got to save $8 million.
I don't care. Find a booster that's got money. Get Bobby Bowden's trust fund. Call Tommy up in wherever he's at right now and get him to send you some money because he's got to get out of there because football is good when Tallahassee's good, and this year it is flowing the other way, and I don't like it.
And you have another sport to fall on. I mean, what you got, softball? No, you're laughing, but they went to they lost the national championship 2 years ago.
A couple of years ago, yeah.
Yep.
But
baseball
I mean,
is also another one as well.
Yeah. So I mean, when you look at it, I don't. What do you think about James Franklin? Give me your assessment of it.
Well, I mean, I know that too many people have said that he can't win the big one. And to be honest with you, other than the big ones, there's a big gap. And then they play all these lesser teams that we haven't thought much of, like Illinois or Minnesota, And then there's those mid-tier teams. And Indiana's a different team now. And Wisconsin's fallen apart. And Iowa's not who they used to be.
Northwestern's not good.
Yeah, Northwestern's not good. So when Penn State lost to Northwestern by 1 point, I mean, that's how much we're talking about. Losing or keeping your job is 1 point or one game. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the situation that we're in. And we were talking that Penn State's perpetually a third best team in the Big Ten for quite a few years. And now you got these West Coast teams that are just squeezed their way in. And what's happened? They've dropped to number 7 or 8, and Penn State has.
Yeah, just for this year, because really, you got to think, last year they were in the playoff.
Yeah.
So that's the deal. And
they went to the Big Ten championship and lost to Oregon. They were the 2 seed in that conference.
Yeah.
And Michigan was 5 or 6?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you look at what he's done at Penn State, it's been pretty good. And
yeah, can I interject a little bit on that too? Because I do know a lot of attention is going to James Franklin, and I get he's a big name. I understand the big name narrative and how it's going. But when you look at the ACC, and I understand the ACC is a solid conference, but they're not Ohio State. I mean, they're not Oregon at this point, and where they are right now. Clemson's not what they used to be. Miami's still trying to grow and develop how they're going to be in a program. So, I mean, that narrative right there in the ACC, I really don't know if it really matters to James Franklin.
That's a good point.
Well, who's he going to lose to if he's not losing to Ohio State or Oregon? He's not losing to anybody in ACC. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 104-46. What else do you want? I mean, he is consistently having 10-win seasons throughout his 12 years at Penn State.
So that's an average of, it's not exactly 10-4. It's a little bit worse than 10-4. If you go 10-4, some schools are okay with it, and some schools aren't.
Most are.
Most are. You're right.
Most.
But there's 20 teams that think that they're so special because they have one ring or they compete with Alabama or something like that. And Nebraska is the laurels of 28 years ago are gone.
Yeah.
And Nebraska having to think that they have to have better than a 10-win season is kind of ridiculous because they aren't who they used to be.
No, that's exactly right. Well, we're going to take our next break, and when we come back, we're going to give the assessment to this James Franklin hire. I think you definitely want to hear this. And also, Orlando Magic tickets. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Call or text him now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. Are you sick of the old sports talk? The vanilla opinions? The polite debates? The hosts who are afraid to say what they really think? So are we. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is bringing the house. It's the new Sports Blitz.
Weekdays, 4 to 6.
We're starting arguments, not conversations. The Sports Blitz.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. Mostly clear tonight with a light breeze coming out of the west at 6 miles per hour and temps near 68. Tomorrow morning we will have mostly sunshine and a wind speed of 13 miles per hour and be warm at 75. Sunny in the afternoon and evening and a high 80 with a moderate breeze. Sunshine Thursday with a temp of 79. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Looking for dependable civil construction in the Florida Panhandle? CBC Construction has you covered. From land clearing and drainage to roads and underground utilities, CBC delivers high-quality work on time and on budget. Locally owned and operated, CBC is trusted by schools, developers, and municipalities. To learn more, call CBC Construction 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com. That's cbcconstruction.com.
That boot store reminds you, football weather means colder weather can't be far off. Now's a great time to shop for those winter work coats, shirts, and shoes. Janice and Irene, along with the staff, welcome you to stop by and shop for the whole family at that boot store. Remember Joe's motto, always put Jesus first in your life. Open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 on Friday and Saturday. That boot store. Next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street, Panama City.
The Rich Eisen Show.
The Tua Tagovailoa soundbite on Wednesday, well said. With the exception of how the media is construing things, there is nothing else to construe other than the fact that there's something going on behind the scenes that involves leadership. Like that, 100%, when your head coach is on the hot seat and you say stuff like that, you are going to add more fuel to the fire.
The Rich Eisen Show.
Rich Eisen weekdays starting at 11, now on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio. They're number one in the men's room.
I hope this place comes with toilet paper.
The Sports Blitz.
Oh, geez, this is going to be a photo finish.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, you can call in. You can text in on the Red 17s phone line, 850-215-6290. We are pumped up talking about this deal with Florida State. We've got Taylor Devers on the phone from Chop Chat, Norvell Central. We've got Coffin Attack Jeff in the studio with us. He better not be getting me sick. And we got Bone Crusher crushing the ones and the twos. You know, when you look at this season and how everything is going, my biggest concern for the Florida State program is this, Taylor. It's the fact that there are already teams that are available and they are already getting in touch with these coaches that are available as well. And the thing is that you don't want to find yourself behind the 8 ball and not have the one you want by holding on to Norvell. So it's very, it's very important for the powers that be that if they're going to go ahead and get rid of him, they need to be transparent not only with him, but they need to be transparent with who they're trying to bring in. Because when you have a coaching hire and you're going after somebody and they're going to be your guy and you've got all of these other teams, because you got an opportunity that LSU, if the wheels fall off of it, there's going to be a hot seat. You got to look at Auburn. If the wheels fall off of it, there's going to be a hot seat. You got to understand those teams might be available. You have an opportunity that Dabo Swinney might leave Clemson. Who knows at this point? It depends on the rest of the season, and it depends on the talks that they have at the end of the year. So James Franklin being the guy that you think, I think that is the perfect case scenario. I think that is the best opportunity for Florida State to be back. And let me tell you why. It's because he's already coached in the SEC. So there's nobody that's going to go in there and say, I want James Franklin to come do what he did at Vanderbilt. I don't think there's anybody in the SEC that's going to call James Franklin and say, I want you to come do what you did at Penn State. Because if you come and do the same thing that you've done at Penn State, you're looking at being an Auburn, an Arkansas, a Missouri, an LSU, an Ole Miss for the past 5 to 6 years, where you can be good at times, but you're not going to the playoff. You're not going to the SEC championship, and you definitely are not going to win a national title. So you pitch that to him and say, you've coached in the SEC. It didn't go so well with Vanderbilt. You upgraded and got the job at Penn State. You did tremendous job at Penn State, bringing them back from all the stuff and all the struggle that they had and all of the things that happened at Penn State. They got through all of it. Now they're a winning program. You did that, James. Now get your feet wet in the ACC. And let me tell you why you need to come to the ACC. Because your toughest games are going to be Miami. Your toughest games is going to be on the road at Pitt. Your toughest games could possibly be a Dabo Swinney, or Dabo might be leaving. And if Dabo leaves, Clemson's going in the gutter. So there you go, James. Just bring it all down here. Keep all of your connections that you had in the Midwest and in the Northeast. And now come recruit in Florida. Come down here and win against Florida Gators and beat Miami. And that's where you want to be.
That's fighting words, the Hurricanes.
I will say this. I know I talk about James Franklin being that top name that I would like. I know that they're not going to go after a group of five coach because they've already been through the Willie Taggart, the Mike Norvell. I love Alex Golesh as a coach. I think he's a tremendous coach over there at South Florida. I think he's going to be a fit somewhere in the Power Five. Even a John Summerall at Tulane, I think could be a tremendous coach somewhere. And even Lane Kiffin talks about how he's an SEC coach. He might definitely be. There's going to be some Power Five coaches that you're going to have to at least open the doors to, like a Glenn Schumann from Georgia, the defense coordinator there. He's been in Georgia's defensive staff for 9 years at this point. Is it good enough for him to leave a coordinator spot under Kirby Smart and go to be his own head coach? We'll definitely see, but that could also be another name I could see Florida State kind of going after too.
Man, you're talking about going after him. I just don't see it. Not that I don't think he could be a good coach, and I could totally miss the boat on this one. But, man, do you realize, I mean, there's so many availabilities, and I get it. They might be just waiting for all of the, all the other teams to tank and see where everybody's at. And they might could go with a Hugh Freeze, or they might could go with a Brian Kelly, or they might could go with a Dabo Swinney or whatever. But I'm just saying, I would not go with a non-proven coordinator from an SEC program. He's not always been the defensive coordinator. He's been there, but don't think for a stretch that Kirby ain't mostly calling that defense when the ball's hiked.
Mm-hmm. I could definitely see that too, and that's the thing you have to really be mindful of. You have to play every scenario. If you're going to fire Mike Norvell and you're going to pay the $54 million buyout and basically end up paying up north of $70 million plus your new coach that you're going to hire, you have to get this right. And that is one thing that Florida State's going to have to do. The commensurate evaluation and assessment they're going to have is going to be a big factor in what Florida State does for their future, because in reality, I might even make a bold take here. This hire defines Florida State's football program for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that 100%. That's why I said I would not go with a coordinator. I would have to go with a coach that, and you know what, the fact is that you're going to have to go to your boosters. If, in fact, he's talking to his boosters and he's telling them, hey, what we've got to have is this, then the boosters are just going to have to step up, or they're not. You know what I mean? So either way, Florida State needs a big hire here. It does not need another coach from, Tulane. They don't need another coach from Louisiana, Lafayette. They don't need a coach from, you know what I mean? They don't need a coach like that. Now, let me ask you this. I know it hasn't been stated, but where is Jimbo Fisher in all of this? Is that just not a possibility? And Jimbo, with the way he responded and the way the fans gave him the love, the crying on the set of the game when he was there being as a broadcaster, interviewing and all of that, he gave the Florida State arm sign. He the chant, he like I said, he cried, he was emotional, the fans were cheering for him. Is that just not something that, could it be a welcoming party back for Jimbo?
It's definitely on the table. I'm not necessarily saying it's off the table, but you have to think, during Jimbo's era at Florida State, all he wanted was to get resources. Florida State now has a renovated stadium. They have a football-only facility. He is getting endless opportunities and NIL opportunities. He's just not being able to get the recruits Jimbo dominated South Florida. He dominated Miami. 7 of his 8 years, he beat them. 6 of his 8 years, he beat Florida. He dominated his rivals. He made Clemson basically quit and bow down for like at least 6 years. I mean, those championships that he had, especially considering the ACC, he was dominant. And the thing was, everyone wants to talk about the end of the collapse in 2017. That's valid. I mean, he basically had a contract that you couldn't refuse. I get it. I understand the emotions that were going on. I was very surprised Florida State fans reacted the way they did towards Jimbo Fisher because I only thought booing him out was basically the only option. I think him and also Deion Sanders is also another name that's going to be one of the biggest wild cards. I don't even know if Deion Sanders is going to get into the end of this year with his health concerns that he has so far, and plus how it's such a wild card for everybody. But you have to at least look at all those options that you have in front of you.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, when you look at James Franklin, when you look at Jimbo Fisher, see, that's to me, for Florida State, that's winning football because both of those guys have won everywhere that they've went. And the thing is that James Franklin, he made Vanderbilt better. And Penn State, he made them better. Jimbo Fisher made Florida State better. He made Texas A&M better. And those are the qualities and the attributes you're looking for when you're hiring a football coach, especially with a job that's a top 15. I'm just going to say it because that's how you are. But when you look at it, who would you rather have? Would you rather have fresh and a new James Franklin, or would you rather have Jimbo come back and right the ship?
I'm going to say Jimbo.
Just because of familiarity of playing in the ACC?
Yeah, and the confidence and the way that everybody's talking about, James Franklin with the whole, the way that this team just went right off a cliff.
Yeah.
And I don't feel good with it. It makes me feel bad. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do right now, we're not taking a break, but we're going to take a break from talking about it. And what we're going to do is we're going to open the phone lines. If you want to go to the Orlando Magic versus the Chicago Bulls on...
No. Atlanta Hawks.
I'm sorry, on Atlanta Hawks. Yeah.
Well, we got good question, because we're giving away 2 tickets. Oh. So if you go to our Facebook page, you get the Hawks versus the Magic
Friday. This is Saturday.
And right now...
the Orlando Magic on Saturday versus the Chicago Bulls. And so what we'll do is we'll open the phone lines, 850-215-6290. And what we'll do is we'll just pick a winner out of the phone lines. Bone Crusher, you'll write them down, and then we'll pick a winner. Or if you can't call and you want to text to the Red 7T's phone line, you can do that as well, 850-215-6290. We're giving away not only Orlando Magic versus the Atlanta Hawks on Friday, we're also giving away the Orlando Magic versus the Chicago Bulls on Saturday as well. So either way, if you want to win a pair of tickets to go watch the Orlando Magic play basketball this weekend, you can call in or text in or comment on the Facebook page right now, and we will put you in to be having the opportunity to win Orlando Magic tickets. And if you don't call in and get them, we're probably just going to send Jeff down there and just tell him to shave his head and paint his body blue and cheer for the Magic on the side.
Trey for the Hawks.
Yeah.
He's a great player. The Bulls, I'm not sure about their lineup and everything. I mean, I liked them back in the days because Jordan was so, entertaining.
Yeah.
Taylor, do you have an NBA team?
I actually do. I'm a New Orleans Pelicans fan. Unfortunately, it's miserable. Let me say that.
Yeah, so either way, if you want the tickets, 850-215-6290. You can call in, you can text in on the line as well, or you can put in as well on the Facebook page. So all of that is open. When you look at James Franklin come into a new program, I think that would bring a lot of excitement. But I do think I'm with you on the Jimbo Fisher thing. I think that the familiarity with the being able to play in the ACC and understanding things. Now, obviously, the ACC has changed, and we talked about at the beginning of the year how this ACC year is going to be different, and it has been different. I'm not so sure that it's as strong as I thought it was going to be at the beginning, because I said that the ACC could possibly overtake the Big Ten as being the stronger conference this year, but it's not that way because Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. But if you look at it, that's just 3 teams. Now, those 3 teams are pretty dominant right now. So, because, I mean, I get it. Illinois is there, and I mean, Penn State
and then
was
you have
there,
a little gap with Michigan, Washington, and USC.
Right.
They all have 2 losses. I'm not sure if Washington has 2 losses.
Yeah, they have.
They have 2.
You pop down there, but if you look at it, the ACC before what has happened with Miami and what has happened with Florida State, but still, you do have.
The worst thing that could happen to the ACC is Georgia just throttles Georgia Tech because they're the only undefeated team left.
Right.
And then also Miami takes another 2nd or 3rd loss, and that just drops the whole conference out to where only one team's probably going to go.
Yeah.
And that's not good. I mean, Louisville, I don't see Louisville finishing 11-1, even though they only have 1 loss right now and they have a weak schedule.
Right.
Now, Taylor, how do you feel about the Miami Hurricanes? I mean, other than not liking them, do you think that they're going to finish 10-2? Do you think they're going to take 1 more loss?
I think they have enough in the tank to have another loss because Carson Beck throws more nonchalant passes and has 4 interceptions again. That it's going to be a long story.
Yeah.
Well, we wondered if Carson Beck was going to be the Carson Beck of old, where he would have a game where he acted that way. And sure enough, that came at the point of Louisville playing. Now, Jeff is on the flip side of thinking that Louisville played up, but I'm on the other side of saying that Miami just played to the level of Louisville. And, yeah, Louisville did play a good game. And, when you have a quarterback like Miller Moss that's had some good games and has been really good, you have to make sure that you don't turn the ball over because you give him more opportunities to score, and then where you put your defense on their heels and turning the ball over never helps them again.
That Louisville Miami game was on about 2 or 3 levels higher than that Florida State Pitt game, because that Florida State Pitt game was horrible. It was absolutely atrocious.
What do you mean when you say that?
Just the ability for guys to not only make tackles but run towards the ball. Just there's no get up and go. It seemed like in the Pittsburgh Florida State game, and then they had like fumbleitis. I mean, it was just ugly. It really was bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think this a Louisville team that is a solid team. I mean, they had some misdirection in that game. They had a couple of halfback snaps. Misdirections. You're trying to keep Miami off the haywire there a little bit, and you got a guy like Reuben Bain on the edge that is a very good player, but the problem is they kept running away from him. He couldn't keep up, and that's kind of concerning because I thought Mesidor and Bain were 2 of the better edge rushers in the ACC and probably even the country. You thought Miami was going to take it to a next level. They're at home in this rowdy stadium. And then in the 3rd quarter, you start seeing them wind a little bit down because Louisville started to kind of get a little more confidence. And as one of our people on our comment section said, SMU was going to be the biggest factor and didn't even include Louisville in that conversation.
Wow, yeah. And sounds like you like to bring up receipts. So either way.
No, I mean, I'll live and die by it. I picked Clemson to go to the ACC championship, and look where we're at.
Yeah. I mean, we all did, though. We all picked Clemson at the beginning of the year. We all just had different opponents. And that was
I can't remember who picked Georgia Tech to go to the ACC championship against Clemson.
Yeah, I also did. So
you're the one who did it?
Yep.
Yeah, and I picked Louisville, and and he even asked on Friday, "You still believe in Miller Moss?" I was like, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah.
And there you go. He got the win.
Yeah. And that's how college football has worked this year. So either way, we're going to take our next break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Gators to see whether or not who Taylor thinks is coming to the Gainesville. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Reach out and smack someone. Call or text now. 850-215-6290. the Red 7T studio line. Your home for the NFL. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Coming up on Thursday Night Football. Touchdown! The 3-3 Minnesota Vikings at the 4-3 Los Angeles Chargers.
Thursday Night Football coverage starts at 6:30. Kickoff at 7:15 right here. Your spot for the NFL on the Gulf Coast. 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
We're proud to bring you the most popular cars in the world, like the stylish Camry and the sporty Corolla. Get award-winning style and 1.99% APR on a new Camry, named the best new model by Kelley Blue Book. Plus, you get 90 days until you make your first payment. Curb appeal comes standard on the new Corolla. Designed to wow from the inside out. Get 3.49% APR plus 90 days until your first payment. Panama City Toyota, your Camry and Corolla headquarters.
Offers end November 3rd. Visit PanamaCityToyota.com for details.
With over 4 decades in business, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to take your collection to the next level. All new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. Buy, sell, and trade. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards inside the Stanford Station on 23rd Street next to Academy Sports. Come see the bigger store and the larger inventory, or visit online, InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
The Kings of the Swamp.
Ball's loose at the 38. Gators got it. Wow.
Join Sean Kelly and the rest of the broadcast team as they bring you Gator football all season long.
Quick race down the near sideline. 20, 15, 10, the 5. Touchdown, Gators.
On your home for Florida football, the Gator Sports Network from Learfield.
The Florida Gators play here. Listen to select games on 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
If you build it, they will come. We're live from the CBC Construction Studios, ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the new Sports Blitz. Call in with your questions, hot takes, and rants at 850-215-6290. The Sports Talk Monster.
ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget to call in, text in the Red 17's phone line, 850-215-6290. We're pumped up. We're excited. We've got Jeffrey in the house, Bone Crusher's in the house, Taylor Devers on the phone. We get to do what we get to do because of our great sponsors, AutoNation Ford in Panama City. They are one of our great sponsors that takes care of us, and they will take care of you. If you need something with your vehicle serviced, if you need parts, go see those guys at AutoNation Ford in Panama City. They'll take great care of you. 730 West 15th Street, right there past the railroad tracks. Awesome place. You can see it. It's on the left. If you're going out of town, if you're coming in town, you're looking to your right. Also, Recommended Collision Center. Those guys know how to get your car back to the original intent that it was supposed to be. You need that paint job right. You've got some messed up scratches, you got some dents, dings, or anything else, they'll take care of you. They're locally owned, locally operated, and they're good guys. They know what they're doing. They'll take care of you. They'll give you a good cup of coffee, and they'll talk sports with you. Just mention the Sports Blitz, and they'll give you a discount as well. So don't forget that. Real quick, we've got some phone line stuff going on here. Also, don't forget, if you want to get the tickets for the Orlando Magic versus the Hawks and Chicago Bulls, you can pick whichever one you like. Friday night is the Hawks. Saturday is the Bulls. So either way, going to go to the Red 70s phone line. And Nick Kragoius, I'm hoping I'm saying that right. As an Oklahoma fan, looking at our remaining schedule, we could very well be looking for a new coach too.
What?
So there you go. That's
man.
You don't agree with that?
I don't like fans giving up on their whole season because they got one loss. Come on, man.
Still got it.
Nah.
And then somebody says, Paul Ritchie, like your name by the way, says John Gruden to Florida State. And then Wright State Chris says, Urban Meyer could have won a national championship at Utah. Why do we think Florida is a top 20 program? Wow. Shots fired to some of the Florida Gator fans.
That's a hard sell because you said they're top 10.
I do think so.
And I've said number 13?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But I think they're top
not
10.
a top 20?
Yeah.
Oh, you better write down a list and send it to me because I can tell you right now, there's no way you can list 20 teams that are a bigger program than the Florida Gators.
That's true. All right, we are going to the Red 17's phone line. Eric from Panama City. Eric, are you with us, my friend?
Yes, sir. This is Eric with an A, the one and only.
I hear you.
My name's spelled with an A. That's how everybody knows me. I used to call in all the time. This is the first time I called in since you guys have taken over, and I got to tell you, man, you've been doing a really good job.
Thank you.
I really do think that. I don't say anything I don't mean.
Appreciate that.
I was calling about talking all of everything about the Miami. I'm a diehard Miami Hurricanes fan. I bleed orange and green 110%. I was actually at the Miami Florida State game that night, and it was spectacular. I loved every second of it. Watching all of them cry. It was great. And I have a suggestion for Florida State's next head coach. And my suggestion is the Miami Hurricanes offensive coordinator. Because I'm here to tell you, against Louisville, I sat there and I watched every snap of that game, and I'm here to tell you, before every snap, before that ball was snapped, I could tell you exactly what was going to happen. And they line up in that damn shotgun we got a 240-pound running back that can fly. Okay, that can absolutely fly, and they're it's like they had our playbook wide open. They knew every run that we were going to make, every time that we were going to take. Because guess what? I did too. I could see it, and line up with two tight ends and two wide receivers and a fullback and that big 240-pound running back Fletcher, and hand that dude the ball and run him until he can't run no more. And instead, they keep running the same thing, vanilla play, over and over. That loss is not on Carson's back, okay? He had some bad bounces. But it's not just that. Like, they knew it was coming, okay? They never had Louisville on their heels because Louisville could see everything that was coming just like I could. All right. I mean, if I can see it, they dang well can see it because they get paid to, And so he's throwing balls out there trying to let his receivers make a play because there's nowhere else to go with the ball. It wasn't on him. I'm telling you, man, I'm so sick of this lining up in the shotgun and trying to run the ball. I mean, it's fine to do a draw out of the shotgun every now and then, do a read option out of the shotgun every now and then. But man, when you keep doing it over and over again, that's what you do on first down. You line up in shotgun and you hand the ball off, and there's four guys waiting in the gap where the running back is supposed to go. I mean, and guess what? Now we're in second and long. Now it was horrible. And if you ask me, like I'm hoping and I'm praying that this Louisville experience was a slap in the face, and they realize that they need to change things around a little bit. Let's man, we've got a humongous offensive line that just mash folks. But you're running around trying to do everything out of shotgun. Let's line up and let's run the ball down their throat and then run some play action off of that. Like, why do we keep doing the same thing when it ain't working? It's the definition of insanity, all right? Yeah. Trying to do the same thing and get the same results. I mean, it's It was ridiculous.
Well, Shannon Dawson is your guy, and I'm not trying to interrupt you, but I wanted to let you know that he has been on the list for the Florida job, and don't think for a moment wherever they get the Florida coach from and all of these openings that's going to open up, a lot of these coordinators like him, maybe the guy from Georgia, some of those guys are going to get their shot at being head coaches, so you might be right about him going.
I don't like that because there was a coach that left for Ohio State to go to Michigan, and that is a bitter, angry, absolute rival. And I can't stand that, you know? I mean, it's like a coach going from Auburn to Alabama. It's just unheard of, and you shouldn't even do it. Let's not even talk about a Hurricane coach going to Florida State.
My thing is, I don't care where he goes. If he don't switch up what he's doing, I want him gone. My problem is not with Mario Cristobal. It's not with Carson Beck. I don't think. As a matter of fact, Carson Beck, honestly, he made some really good throws that game. He really did. He had four interceptions, and we were still in the game. Okay, I mean, they had all kinds of things go wrong, and I'm just hoping it was a bad game, and I'm hoping that they see what, you know, that they see it on film and they go, man, we really need to start doing something a little bit different.
History will say,
all this.
I'm with you.
All this running out of the shotgun. I'm like, I just can't stand it. Unless you have a running quarterback, all right, which Carson Beck can move, yeah, but he ain't no running quarterback. Unless you have a running quarterback, you don't need to be running the ball out of the shotgun. Period. And we've got two great tight ends. We've got some great wide receivers. Like, what are you doing? Switch it up. You know, just switch it up.
You're right. And the thing is that there's a plus and a minus here. And you got to look at it, and you know this as a Miami fan. The thing about the plus is that it has been proven in the history of Carson Beck playing college football, he never has two bad games in a row. So that's one. But the second part of that is Mario Cristobal does normally lose another game. So that's the only thing. You got a plus and a minus here. You just got to hope and pray that the Carson Beck that we all love and the one that's been playing all but one game this year comes back and does what he's been doing, and they'll let him do that with a run support, which is exactly what you're talking about. It's going crazy on Facebook. People are agreeing with you. So Eric with an A, you're spot on, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And like I said, I respect what y'all are doing. You guys are putting on a great show. You really are.
Thank you so much, man.
I give you a shout out for that. And go Kings, baby.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good day, man. We appreciate it. You know, he's not he's not lying when you look at the fate of college football right now. When did Alabama start winning? They started winning whenever they started running the football. Mm-hmm. When does Georgia win their football games? They start running the football. When do teams like Tennessee and Ole Miss lose the games?
But running it well and not falling behind too far.
Right. Yeah, you've got to set the precedent because it still matters that you've got to get a running game. It does not matter in whatever level you play football. You go out here and watch Mosley, Bay, or Arnold, or Bozeman, or Rutherford, or North Bay Haven. If they can establish the run, it opens up everything else that they want to do with their offense.
And it's been like that for years.
It's been like that forever.
Yeah.
You can change all of the stuff that you want. You can bring RPOs, EPOs, and CP3O all in there if you want to. But I'm telling you, you got to be able to run the football. Taylor, do you agree with that sentiment? And then what do you think about what the Miami fan just said?
Oh, 1,000%. I definitely agree. I think if you run the ball, you're going to do fantastic things. And I think with Miami, the biggest thing, as you said, Carson Beck is due for another one of those stinkers, potentially. Mario Cristobal, his in-game management is absolutely atrocious. I do think that is a very talented team. I think they have the potential to go out throughout the season with no losses. But, again, it's Miami. They haven't been able to do this in a little bit of time now. We have to see it.
Well, I mean, the next three games, what is it? Let's see, it's Stanford. Yeah, it's Stanford, then at SMU, and then at home against Syracuse. Yeah. Stanford and Syracuse don't scare me at home.
Yeah.
but at SMU is the only one I'm kind of thinking, But, I was wrong last year when they lost to, who was it, Syracuse and Pitt?
Yeah.
I mean, they surprised me, so you don't know which game. He's going to throw 4 interceptions. I don't think he's going to do that again. But they did kind of give this away because Miller Moss threw 0 interceptions.
Yeah.
And you can't throw 4 and the other team throws 0 and expect to win. And they only lost by, 3 points?
Yeah. And you got to be more creative with your packages. You got to be able to disguise a little bit more. You can't just run the same plays week in, week out and expect nobody to make adjustments against your offense. And that's really what we're talking about. That's kind of Cristobal's MO, so to speak. But either way, this has been a wonderful day. This has been a great show. Taylor Devers, we appreciate you. Jeffrey, glad you're here. Bone Crusher, good job today. All of the fans, we appreciate it. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to dive deep into the SEC. We got Tennessee Brandon coming in the building to eat some humble pie. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
Here we go. The Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson will be awarding the Sports Blitz High School Player